All right, if you're watching this, you should probably check out part 1 because that video gets into what we're doing here and some disclaimers that go along with it. Obviously, we're talking about some good loadouts for Chaos Agent. He kind of improves a lot in the game, so this video ran on a little long. So, yeah, and I think you're in for a treat because I think part 2 here actually has some better loadouts, so enjoy. All right. This is one of my favorite little findings with Chaos Agent, and that is reviving the HackSAW. You guys might not know this, although you probably do because it's one of the most popular videos on my entire channel. A lot of people don't really mention the fact that I ranked the HackSAW number 2, right alongside the Silent Spectre and the Bobcat as one of the best weapons in the entire game. And I stand by that. However, if we just take a little trip to the HackSAW schematic, you're going to find a couple of clear drawbacks. And that is that we have a crit damage perk, nice and neat, but absolutely no crit rating perk to speak of. That is mathematically not a problem, because fire rate and damage is as good as crit rating crit damage. A lot of people ignore that, but it's true. But it means that you are going to be shooting a lot more bullets to achieve the same amount of damage that some of the other SMG brethrens can make up for with a crit build. And it's a very spammy weapon, but it is so strong. The problem is 5.1 seconds is your reload time. So even with, I'm going to tank the reperk to demonstrate, even with the reload perk, you're waiting 2.9 seconds. And with 100 rounds in the magazine and a 13.8 fire rate, you are going to be reloading every 7 seconds, which is too often. Every 7 seconds, you need to wait 2.9 seconds to reload. I know that these are just numbers, but in the heat of combat, that is really annoying. Also, you can put Affliction on the HackSAW, which isn't anything new, but I core reperked this, and it was totally worth it. You're going to see in all of this gameplay, I am just tagging enemies and sweeping through the crowd, and it is fantastic. But you'll also note that I had to change my schematic. Yeah, we're running fire rate double damage on this thing, and I have 2 copies for water and nature. That just helped with the gameplay. I recommend a matching element, but the HackSAW is military, which means you're going to have to research 3 of these to get it going, and I completely recommend it. With Chaos Agent in the loadout, this was an amazing build. In all of the gameplay, I actually had assault crit damage in my support, which is fine, it's whatever, but you're only critting 10% of the time with this build. So I actually recommend Mad Tidings. It's not something I generally recommend, but when your mag size is 100, really good combo. Really, really good combo. If you don't like the idea of Crackshot constantly resetting your buff every time you switch off or build or eat a coconut or whatever, this is where I'm going to break my rule from earlier and maybe suggest assault ammo recovery. We are using a fire rate build, so this will keep you shooting longer. And again, like I mentioned earlier with the cleaner, the grenades and shockwave, they do kind of keep up with the HackSAW, but assault ammo recovery would essentially extend your magazine size by 31.7%, which means you'll have to reload 31% less often. That's not how that works, but you know what I mean. You'd have to throw less grenades. So if you're more aware of the grenade usage, then maybe grenade generation would be fine. 45 eliminations from the HackSAW is not really a problem. That's going to be very easy to do with this weapon, so that could be more worth it. Again, as I said in the beginning, there are a lot of different ways to run this. You don't even need Blast from the Past. HackSAW is very strong. You could easily throw on Happy Holidays, reduce those cooldowns, get it going. I implore you to tinker with this. All I want to report with this loadout is the HackSAW is super usable. Chaos Agent makes weapons with a big mag size and slow reloads very fun to use because the HackSAW packs all the damage but had a little bit too much maintenance. Removing that reload time makes it a very, very strong, very fun pick. I've used this in the 164 players. It melts through a 250 power level smasher. It is not a problem. Definitely a fun build. All right, we are easing off the meta builds to something a little sillier. I know that this is essentially the exact same loadout I showed with the HackSAW. All we did was add assault crit damage and first shot Rio, but because you're going to have to be reloading a ton to support this build, Happy Holidays might be better. This is more general for ARs in general, but I don't think it fits here. I think you're definitely going to need grenade generation because you are just going to be throwing a lot of them. And I might even replace Saurian Might, because we don't have Blast in the Past, doesn't matter anyway, with, as I mentioned earlier, Shock Trooper Renegade, which is just a necessary thing. You're going to need the Shockwave, you're going to need the grenades, and that is because with First Shot Rio, you might not know this, it's been a long time since I talked about her, assault weapons and SMGs will have a 100% chance to crit for the next 6 shots after you reload, which does work with our boy Chaos Agent. Like I said, his ability activation is triggering a reload event, which means you will have a guaranteed chance to crit 6 times in a row. I paired this with the Hydra. So we threw on 2 crit damage perks on this thing and a double damage. I was running water on this because of the mission I was doing earlier in the day. I didn't want to respec another weapon for this video, but headshot eliminations cause an explosion is perfectly fine. You can have the 5 hits in a row cause an explosion on the Hydra. You are shooting multiple projectiles at a time, so it could trigger that quite a bit. However, the headshot eliminations was fine. I was not about to core reperk this weapon. So, as you could figure, all you do is shoot something from your Hydra, whatever. Make sure the magazine isn't full. Throw a grenade or reload naturally, God forbid, and then just headshot an enemy. You have to be slow, you have to be patient, you have to hit your shots. This is not a loadout for the faint of heart, I'm not gonna lie. I personally have quite a bit of FPS experience, so if you're somebody who plays CSGO, Call of Duty, or whatever, it's gonna help a lot with this loadout, but if you can swing it, if you're accurate enough, it's really, really nice. But like I said, you only have 6 shots to spare, and then you gotta throw another grenade. So that's why I recommend all of these cooldown perks and Happy Holidays. You're gonna need to make sure they're active. You could even forego coconuts because if you switch off the Hydra and eat them, it's going to reset it. So I don't recommend Survivalist, but it might just keep you in the fight. That's up to you guys. You could even use Dennis Jr. for the burgers on the ground. There are lots of different options, but that's going to be up to you guys. I just wanted to recommend First Shot Rio and Chaos Agent because it's a pretty good combination. All right, I feel like I've said this every time, but this is my new favorite loadout. I have taken something you guys might recognize. Rocket video on screen, link down below. Seriously, I still believe it's worth watching, even though I'm going to spoil the entire loadout here. But I took the Star Spangled Headhunter build with Happy Holidays, and not 1, not 2, but 3 support heroes. Steel Wool Carlos, if you're looking to remake this. Ghoul Trooper Ramirez, who is, as recording, currently available in the Fortnite Mayor's Llamas. Very, very cool. Her and Jonesy are both available for a 3-second extension. It matters, I promise. And then Colonel Wildcat, super regular base game hero. I shout her out in my daily videos all the time. Very easy to acquire. 17%, you know, prime number, kind of annoying and confusing, but it does reduce the cooldown of Warcry, and it does matter because Star Spangled Headhunter's Warcry will give you a 50% chance to not consume ammo when you shoot. When you combine this with a rocket launcher, a few examples on screen, the Cannonade, the V6 launcher, the Snowball launcher, the Grenade launcher, literally any launcher in the game that I haven't mentioned yet is going to work with this. The higher the magazine size, the better. I explained that in their video, link down below. I did all the math. If you really want to know what's going on here, I get into it in the video down in the description. But suffice it to say, the more bullets you have in the magazine, the longer you'll shoot. That's why I put a mag perk on a Cannonade to demonstrate this build. And lastly, I should mention we have 8-bit demo. He also gives you a 20% chance not to consume ammo. And of course, our boy Chaos Agent, because you are not going to be reloading very often in this build. That's important because the only heavily reoccurring ability that you have is the Grenade, and of course the Warcry, because we have 3 of our support perks dedicated to reducing it, and our team perk with Happy Holidays. You are going to be definitely shooting for a long period of time and then instantly reloading because rockets are nothing if not very, very slow reloaders. The mag size perk Cannonade we've got here has a 3.2 second downtime, which is nuts. That's a long time to be waiting in the middle of a fight. But with a 14 mag size plus the ability, this loadout probably gives it about 40 odd rounds before you're empty, and it is just a sight to behold. You can see in this clip right here where I wasn't even shooting any enemies, you can just see how the mag size is just barely going down as it is spraying cannonballs off into the... It's amazing. I love this build, and by taking away the reload perk, it gave me an option. I could either go quadruple damage, which you can, or I could go for a mag size perk. I think with this loadout and using Chaos Agent to his best, you can go quadruple damage on your Cannonade or V6 launcher, whatever you're running. I actually have my V6 launcher supercharged to 144 because it is that powerful with this loadout. Again, I run it with reload, but with Chaos Agent, maybe I could give it another damage perk. And I also want to mention something important here. I had to take away something important for this build. I usually use Demolitionist Penny for the 17% launcher damage. So by taking her out, we are strictly doing less damage. It's okay. It's a rocket launcher, especially with affliction damage. You don't always need to hit the target again. And yes, I did core reperk my Cannonade. Shrapnel is a very garbage 6 perk as of recording. It's just simply not that powerful. But affliction just makes sure that every single enemy hit by this weapon, which it's a rocket launcher doing splash damage, it's going to hit a lot of enemies, they're just going to tick away over time, and it's going to be a very effective way to kill enemies. And so you don't need faster explosions. Quick Fingers is quite nice paired with this build. I'm not certain if it's a strict upgrade, but it's definitely very powerful, and I wanted to share it with you guys. All right, I think this is the last thing I wanted to mention, but shotguns are definitely improved by this build, and I want to just get it out of the way right away. Yes, I am showing another Blast from the Past build, and that is because shotguns are very refined, and this loadout did not need to change much. In fact, the only difference in this build normally is I have Skull Ranger Ramirez with Locked and Reloaded. That is it. I haven't mentioned it much in this video already, but Totally Rockin' Out is always a counter to Blast from the Past. You can use it if you want to do way more damage, and in fact, because the uptime on Totally Rockin' Out is so limited, throwing a grenade or something to instantly reload could be beneficial. I just prefer Blast from the Past. These are just demonstrative builds. That's all that I'm going to get into there. But yeah, as I mentioned, not every shotgun works. My example here is the Room Sweeper and the Tiger Jaw are definitely improved by this. There are bugged shotguns like the Ground Pounder, Huskbuster, Pulsar. They only reload one of their shells at a time with Quick Fingers. If that's a bug and it's patched in the future, I'll try to pin a comment or something. I implore you to try it if you guys are running this build. Shouldn't be too bad. Just craft one, shoot it. If it doesn't work, then use the Room Sweeper or the Tiger Jaw. These are mag-sized shotguns, so they reload all of their bullets at once. So he works for the entire magazine, and it's awesome. And that is just all I got to say with that. The Room Sweeper is an incredibly powerful weapon, but it has a couple of drawbacks. One, it's going to chew through all of your ammo. It is, technically speaking, you might not know this, but if you take the damage per second, the DPS of every shotgun in the game, and divide it by the time that that shotgun spends reloading, the Room Sweeper is actually the highest DPS shotgun in the game when you factor in reloads. So, if you can give it a damage perk instead of a mag size or a reload, and replace its reload time with Quick Fingers, holy cow, that is a very, very strong build, and definitely one that I was excited to show off, because I haven't ran the Room Sweeper in a very long time, but it impressed me here, and I had a very good time. Tiger Jaw, same deal. It is slower firing than the Room Sweeper, but it does enough damage to compensate. Very similar shotgun, very similar experience. It's a lot more controlled and a lot more ammo efficient, so that might be more preferred if you guys are if you're low on shotgun shells, but both of these weapons performed very, very well with Quick Fingers, and I think he was a clear upgrade to this build. And that is just a handful of some of these loadouts. I have no idea how long this video was. This might be a part 2 that I'm recording this in. I don't even know. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any suggestions, comments, leave them down below. Subscribe. Use code Mista at your checkout. I meant to remove that at the beginning of recording, but I guess that's been here the whole time. Sorry. Twitch link down below. I record these on stream. Thank you so much for watching again. Have a great day, and have fun with the new hero. And then